New Federal Theater has an unbelievable history of involvement with black artists. Lawrence Fishburne started here. Late Gilbert Moses directed 3 or 4 shows for us. Because understand, at that time, the 70s, there were not a lot of outlets for black artists. And so the New Federal Theater was one of those outlets that sort of gained a lot of visibility. And that visibility led to careers in Hollywood, careers in television, and careers as directors in other theaters around America.
Not just a year, but a door kicked open. A vision stood in New York City. Brick by brick, voice by voice, New Federal Theater. Not just a company, but a promise. A promise that stories long buried under silence would rise. Unapologetic, unfiltered, unforgotten. Inspired by movement. Not just feet in motion, but a people in motion. The echo of the black arts movement drummed in its bones. Named after history, the Federal Theater Project, but rewritten for now. Here, writers of color did not ask for space, they took it. Women did not wait for permission, they spoke. And the stage, oh, the stage, it listened. It carried black girl into the light. It sang for colored girls who have considered suicide. When the rainbow is enough, like a testimony too powerful to whisper. It moved with the dance and the railroad, bodies telling truth where words fall short. But this wasn't just about plays. No. This was about people. Workshops humming like heartbeats, rooms filled with raw talent, unpolished brilliance waiting. And from those rooms rose voices you now know. Denzel Washington, Morgan Freeman, Debbie Allen, Felicia Rashad, Chadwick Boseman, Samuel L. Jackson, Issa Rae. Names now carved into culture, but once just dreams in a room that believed in them first. And the man behind it, not just a director, not just a producer, but a builder of pathways. He wrote, he edited, he shaped the narrative so history wouldn't forget itself. Honors came, as they do, but they could never measure the real achievement. Lives changed, stories told, stages reclaimed, from Obie to Tony, from halls of fame to halls of learning. The accolades echo, but the work lives on, because a stage was built not from wood, not from light, but from breath, from struggle, from truth. And it still speaks.
I was born in Alabama. My mother and I moved to Detroit. I went to elementary school, junior high, and high school in Detroit. I went to drama school in Detroit, a very famous school in Bloomfield Hills, Michigan, called Willoway School of Theater. And I graduated from that in 1961. But what happened is in that school, which was 99% white, it was really only maybe 3 black people in the whole school, but I got a scholarship, and they sort of like looked out for me. But you could not act on stage with white actresses. You could do monologues, from Othello, Emperor Jones, Green Pastures, stuff like that. So a group of us started our own theater downtown Detroit. The theater was called Concept East, and that was started in 1960. It was a huge success. Um, One of the plays that we did at the theater was called Study in Color by the Reverend Malcolm Boyd. And that play toured across America as a benefit for the Episcopal Society for Racial and Cultural Unity, which was sponsored by the Episcopal Church. That play in 1963 ended up in New York to a very successful kind of run here in New York at St. Mark's Church in the Bowery. As a result of that, I said, wow, I produced it. I co-directed it with my now chairman, Cliff Frazier. Uh, wow, if I can make this kind of money on the road, I can make this kind of money in New York. However, that wasn't the case. I got a job in my chosen field of drafting. And as soon as they saw the reviews from the play, I was fired. So it was my lesson. 1965 until 1970, I ran a cultural arts program called Mobilization for Youth. It was on the Lower East Side. It was a part of the poverty program, the Real Great Society, the Great Society that was formed by Lyndon Johnson. And it paid young people to study. And these young people that I ran in the cultural arts program was in theater, dance, music, art, and they got paid. So it was a sort of a way to curtail juvenile delinquency, if you will. We were able to make an arts program, and that arts program became very, very well known throughout America because of the art that we created, films, dance companies, artwork. It's an unbelievable array of development with young people, 16 to 21, actually creating their own art. When the director of that program, overall program, moved to Henry Street, he asked me to come to Henry Street. That's when I thought it would be a good idea to form a theater company rather than just a training program by itself. Now, once I got here, I studied acting with my mentor, Lloyd Richard. And I studied from maybe 1964, 65, 66 until I got a job as cultural arts director with Mobilization for Youth. In those days, it was very few actors working off Broadway of color that had degrees. And so that helped me tremendously, um, really tremendously. So I acted, and my last big acting stint was 1968 when I did The Great White Hope as an actor on Broadway with James Earl Jones and Hector Elizondo, Jane Alexander. It was just a great experience. But I was taking more notes on how to produce than I was concentrating on the acting. And that play went on and on and on. And you got to understand, 1968, the riots in America was changing America. The riots in Watts had happened in 64, Newark 66 and 67, Detroit 66, 67. And the American landscape was changing. The new medium was television commercials. And I jumped into that with all fours. At sometimes I would be doing 3 and 4 commercials a month. I mean, it was like unbelievable. I could not believe that that kind of money could be made from doing a 1 minute commercial. They flooded television like that with those kind of funds. I said, well, I can buy me a house. I can uh, produce. I don't smoke, but I did dozens of TV cigarette commercials because you learn how to, being an actor, you learn how to do all those things and make it look very real. And so that's what I did. But by 1973, the new Federal Theater was then 3 years old, and I had these huge hits in the theater, which was making as much as I was making in commercials. You know what I mean? So it was like it was like a no-brainer. So that's how my early career started in Detroit. It was just an amazing kind of experience. Well, I mean, when I started out, black people were very glad to have images of themselves reflected back. So they were very, very pleased to have messages that were truthful and not stereotypical. So we had an unbelievable array of different backgrounds and blackness deal with what we were doing. At the same time, the playwrights, the actors, and the directors did not have an outlet. So they were very glad to be a part of something called the American theater because they had been denied access to mainstream theater. How it has changed over the years, of course, is it has been usurped in a sense by white American theater, and some of the larger white theaters will do one black play every 3 or 4 years, get tremendous funding for it. One black actor or actress will be nominated for a Tony Award for working in their theater, while they won't even come to see the kind of work that's been done at black theaters, radical theaters. Those kind of theaters are rare. Political theaters are rare because the system won't fund those theaters, and those theaters cannot pay artists and directors and well artists in general. So I see that as a major change. Also, you understand, like the in the '60s, blackness inculcated itself into the American system. Really, whether it was through black studies, whether it was through this the riots, we were constant. We were in front of that public. So now, 30 years later, young blacks are graduating from major drama institutions, major universities, specializing in theater, whether they have their MFA in theater from NYU, Yale, Carnegie Mellon, UCLA, or their BFAs from schools like Purchase or Juilliard. These young black artists are coming out well trained. They can work in any kind of theater they want, and some of them are able to transcend color. Some of them are able to deny that color is a major issue in their work. So I don't know how that's going to play out on the wider landscape because it's all about the writing, where the writing will be going. You will see some plays. For example, they had just done Death of a Salesman at Yale. And Willie Loman came in, and it's all black version. He came in, and he is losing his job because the people not buying. His sons are going through all kinds of stuff, but you cannot tell whether it is because he is black. So I think those are kind of things. You'll see plays where the problems have nothing at all to do with the color of the person's skin, but you are sitting there knowing all of the problems are due to the person's color of their skin or their gender. Because they're a woman, or because they are whatever, or because they're class. They're in a class where they're not recognized for what they are about and what they do.
you.